songs that I know are like that you referenced the American Dream one as well, but two new ones that I know you didn't. I believe Paul Mark wrote the lyrics on, but I would still be interested on your take of them as you sing them every night, and they're on the latest record. Would be Bankrupt and The Altar, which are two of the songs that I know you play live. I saw you play them both in Milwaukee a couple months back. Absolutely heavy hitters, some of the heaviest songs you've ever written. I know, like I said before, I believe Paul Mark wrote those lyrics, if I'm not mistaken, from listening to your podcast and things like that. But what do those songs and what do the context of these, which both of them kind of hit on essentially greed or the rule, for black, I don't mean to put words in your guys' mouth, but kind of like a ruling class or overly rich people hoarding things while other people suffer and things of that nature. I don't know if I have that right, but what do those songs kind of mean to you lyrically when you sing them every night, when you recorded them? Just kind of speak to that a little bit.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Paul Mark did write the lyrics to those, and, but he and I always speak about them. Like he almost always, even though like he writes great lyrics, I think a lot of times he kind of like needs to sell me on them. So he's just excited about what he wrote. And I love that. So he'll come up to me, he'll be like, yeah, and this about this. I'm like, yeah, I can see that, but he like, I think it's great that he makes sure that he like fills me in about these, about the lyrics. And Bankrupt is a cool one, because Bankrupt was the first song we wrote for the album cycle. And, we recorded it early, we put it out early, and it made a bit of a statement. But I think like, just the time it came out, it was like during COVID, and at a time when, so much was happening. I think a big part of it was how much you heard about like the government getting rich or not the government, sorry, corporations getting rich off of all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like kind of taking advantage of what was going on, and that was a big part of it there. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether it was like the GameStop thing, like they're putting a movie out about that. It was like,
I didn't know that.
What's that?
I didn't know they were putting a movie out about that. That's interesting.
I think it's called Dumb Money. I saw the trailer. I go to the movies every week, and I saw the trailer in the theater. It looks pretty rad, actually. Seth Rogen is in it. I'm not sure if he's involved in the making of it at all, but he's in it. And so is Pete Davidson, if you're a big Pete Davidson fan, which, you know what? I like Pete. But it's, the GameStop thing was like a big eye opener, or like all the crypto scams that were happening at that time and are still happening. There's just a lot of that stuff that I think we were kind of just making a little comment on, but like really like no one cares about you. Like no one has your back in these situations, but there was a big part, the deck is stacked, the game is rigged. It's just kind of the fact with a lot of things when you're the little guy in this in this world. And I think it's tough, right? Because like we all got to play the game a little bit.
Right.
Like, we thought this was like the thing we wrestled with, I think, the most, both with Bankrupt and with The Altar, Mary, was we are putting out this music for profit, right? We are in the studio getting paid to record these songs and put them out. Like, we're part of the problem almost. We're not, but we are. Like, is it hypocritical for us to make a comment about something when we are literally monetizing our art? And that's what we do. Right. So we're selling something. It's weird. Right. And this was like, we had Paul Mark and I and some other people in the band. We actually had conversations about this, being like, well, is this weird to do? Like, should we be putting out these songs as a nonprofit, or something like that? Like, what is the approach? But like, the bottom line is, the songs really are about the fact that we all have to live in this world and we all have to play the game of having money in our bank account so we can like pay for shit. And like, we never asked for this. We weren't born and like someone said, "Hey, are you like okay with this?" Like, no, it's like, this is just, we're born into this life of like, okay, you have to do this and you have to work and you have to make money so you can like live. And if you don't, you're a fucking bum, you're a loser. And what are you doing? But you have to, right? And this is like, we've chosen music as our thing. Like, we could have chose anything, I guess. So I mean, it's just, it's weird. We're all kind of fucked, you know? And I think Bankrupt touches on that a little bit with that, you know, the game is rigged. The deck is stacked, because it really is like stacked against us. No matter how much we want to believe we could beat the stock market, you know, or whatever, right? You know, someone will come up with a get rich quick scheme and sell books on eBay or whatever, you know, Amazon did at first, or, you know, whatever it is, like it all like is, there's always ways and there's always those success stories, but like for most people, that's the reality.
Yeah, 100%. And to push back, I mean, I understand why you guys would feel that way when you're putting out a song like that and needing to make money. I think everybody feels that way. It's like when I care about a lot of these things of like worker exploitation or something, but like I still like, it's not like everything I buy is like probably ethically made, or you know, the food that I eat, even if I want things better for animals or for workers that are all those things, like the entire world's built on exploitation to some extent, especially like in the systems most people live in. And it's like, what I like about Bankrupt and the Altar is you acknowledge those things, and yet it's also like, it's not about like the person that has to do that to like make a decent living. It's about the person that probably like has, you know, ripped off enough people or exploited enough people that they're like high on the mountaintop,
right,
with like sitting like the dragon sitting on a mountain of gold coins kind of deal.
Right.
Like, you know, it's, you know, somebody making a decent living isn't the issue. Like, you're not hoarding, like Silverstein is not sitting there in a golden palace with like shitting in a golden toilet or something, right? Like that's,
no,
you know.
but you know what though, we like, that was even something we talked about, and the lyrics ended up getting into the Altar about that, because like there's so many people that are just doing the bidding of whoever's above them, who are doing the bidding of whoever's the one above them. Like that whole, you know, that whole idea of the levels. And like, we don't really necessarily hear from the people on the top, you know, they're not the ones necessarily directly controlling what kind of health benefits someone's getting at their job or their salary, or negotiating their salary. Like the people at the very top, like they have the chain of command, you know? And it's like, sometimes the people who are like the worst culprits of this stuff are just people like, they're, hey man, I'm just doing my job, you know? Like middle management. And it's like, that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. And we talk about that in like, I think it's in the bridge part, the like kind of, I call it the hip hop part of the Altar, you know.
The Paul Mark part, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the Paul Mark part, exactly. Yeah, like, I wish I could quit, but the idol in the middle tends to rule with the fist. Yeah. Right? So, you know, I'm not blind. Like, I see what's going on, but my hands are tied. Like, I can't really do anything about it. And that's just the truth, you know? It's like, it's just like so many things in this world, you know, like, oh, let me talk to my boss. Oh yeah, I don't know if my boss will say yes, you know, whatever it is. Like, this is just the way it is. And, you know, and I think that's just something we recognize that, but like, again, nobody ever asked to live in this world where this is the reality. So that's just that. Those are basically the Bankrupt and the Altar Mary are very similar sorts of songs. Just Bankrupt's maybe a little more angry, and the Alter Mary is a little bit more of maybe a little bit more of maybe yeah, that's a good word for it. I couldn't have thought of that word. Good job.
Thanks. Yes. Yeah. It's what happens, I guess, when you teach children all day. You can come up with some vocabulary.
Contemplative. Right? I'm gonna go downstairs after this, and my girlfriend will be like sitting on the couch, like on her phone, and I'll be like, "Hey, babe, you okay? You're looking a little contemplative." She'll be like, "Whoa, how many syllables was that shit?" Contemplate. That's a big word for you, dude. Not like yeah. You okay?
I'm glad I could add a new word to your vocabulary to impress her or weird her out. Yes. I'm not sure which.
No, I do know the word. This is not one maybe I use on the reg.
Yeah,
Prosecco is about the longest word I think I know.